Hello, I'm the last one, it seems. So my name is Piotrek. Let's talk about productivity. I think I have a room full of geeks, because if at 4:40 p.m. at the end of the conference you still want to hear about productivity, it means you're really a geek. So I'm Piotrek. I live in Krakow. Actually, I came here on foot. I live 15-minute walk from here. And so let's talk about productivity. It means different things for many people. For some, it's more time for your family. For some, it's time for your hobby. For some, it's going out to your bed and thinking that was a good day. So productivity may mean different things. It's not how busy you are, it's what results you get. This is the productivity that I think. And so if you want to be in contact, these are my addresses. But talking about productivity, we're on a conference, so we have to think about goals. What is the goal of the conference, actually, or you're attending this conference? For many people, this is making connections. So if I'm talking about productivity, I have to think, what's the goal? You're in here, and it's because making connections, I will let you do that. So next 90 seconds, I'll give you just one exercise. You cannot talk to anyone you know. That's the time for you. For these 90 seconds, you just tell your neighbor who you don't know what's your name, what you do, where you work, and maybe you can make some new connections. That's what conferences are about. So if you want to make this conference productive, you have 90 seconds to make new friendships. And this is your time. Let's do it. Pół godziny. Nie, jest okej. All right. Thank you very much. That was it. All right. Thank you. That's productivity. Sometimes 90 seconds can make like a very big impact for things you do. That's the productivity, I believe. Let's think about the effect. Let's think about the goals, and let's improve thinking about the goals, not try harder. Sometimes a small difference can make big results. So some of you will smile. I'll be showing you pictures that are from your times. These are from mine times. Maybe you know that thing. All right. 17 years ago, we bought our first modem, 4 kilobytes per second, and one impulse every 6 minutes. All right, so internet 6 minutes daily for 4 kilobytes per second. Imagine that today. 4 kilobytes per second. You think something is really broken. And then maybe you know that stuff. What's the year of the release? Around 2000. That's exactly 2000. This phone is 17 years old. Maybe you know that phone. 2007. It's 10 years now. So 11 years ago, people didn't have smartphones. So, world changed a lot. Now, we are the first generation to experience things that 11 years ago were not there. For example, our brain actively seeks for distraction. That's something our parents don't know. You want to start a new task, and you experience a distraction because your brain actively seeks how to distract. This is what we do because of these blinking phones and everything that's ringing and your new Facebook notifications, and our brain is completely damaged by that. So the world changed a lot over the last 11 years, and 10 years, and 20 years. Let's now talk about the productivity stuff and how I understand this. So my experience is I do classroom trainings. This is actually a board game we play on two-day productivity course where people physically have to spend their time and they see it, how they spend their time. And so I do productivity trainings in Scrum and Kanban. It's over, let's say, 700 people trained already. And I do online courses, like, for example, productivity step-by-step online course with over, I think, now 500 participants. So I have a lot of data to talk about today. I try to tell you what I've learned from the people that I teach, if I can say that. So a question to you, you now have 10 fingers. Each finger is 10%. And XQ survey asked few 100,000 people this question. Are you or people around you systematically planning implementation of priority goals? How many % of people will say yes to that question? You can show me on your fingers. One finger is 10%. All right, it's not that bad. 8%. All right, 8% of people systematically plan implementation of priority goals, and 92% don't. So they are not people. They don't do it systematically. They are not planning, or planning but not implementing. And if they are planning and implementing, these are not priority goals. So my task is to push you to that 8%. So I have a lot of work. So let's talk how to do that. Any one of you have a task list that's actively being managed every day? It can be actively growing, but at least you do something about it. Yes, you have it? So if you do a list of your priorities, and the task list is sorted by priority, not by deadline, which is actually the only option available in most applications. So assume for some time that your tasks are not sorted by deadline, by priority, which is crazy stuff anyway. Then let's call this stuff backlog. And like in Scrum world, every backlog has an owner. All right, so who is your life owner if this is your life backlog? Correct answer. All right, so if you actively manage backlog, you know that you divide it into 3 parts logically. The first part is things you're currently running. So in Scrum, that would be your current sprint. This is work actively being developed. In your tasks, these are tasks that you already started, they are in progress. Second part of the backlog is something that's nearby future, it's coming. So in Scrum, that will be a subject of grooming or backlog refinement. So we have to prepare because once it's in here, entering the sprint, it has to be good quality. So we're preparing this stuff because when it comes to the top, we have to be ready to really start our work now. Not thinking, what do we actually wanted to achieve? A good question. We cannot waste that time, so we prepare this nearby future, and then we have something, okay, maybe someday. We keep it in mind, but we don't do anything about it. So how do we manage currently running projects? How do you do that? So, how many projects are you actively developing right now? Even think about private life. You're probably doing some exercise, you have some personal projects, maybe you build a house, maybe you sing somewhere, you have activities, meeting with friends. How many parallel projects are you running? That's a question for everyone. 4 years ago, I had 13. I was playing in a band, it's hard to believe, but I did. I had 2 blogs, I had full-time job, I have a wife, and I did many, many different things. I helped an NGO organization and stuff like that. And that was the day Americans have this beautiful term called spread yourself too thin. So you spread yourself so thin that it lost its taste. You have something like this sometimes? That there was something you put out on a slice of bread and it had no taste because you spread yourself too thin. That was me. That was 4 years ago. I did too much, and many people do too much. The problem with productivity is we have to do better and then get rid of everything else. So 2 years later, I got down to 3 projects. That was the total minimum of my life. I resigned from the band. It took me 8 months to leave it. I quit writing blogs. I quit my full-time job. And I connected few activities into something that I today call produktywnie. So my hobby became my job, and I reorganized my life to have just 3 projects. That was a laser focus. That was the best part of my life. Everything was really going fast and well. So when you anyone have 13 close friends? Really close friends? Any one of you have 3 close friends? Yeah, that's what I would expect. So these were my friends, let's say, call it American friends. And these were Polish friends. When in Poland you say someone is your przyjaciel, it means it really, really close. So these were my real close friends. 3 projects can be your real close friends. When you have 13, it's impossible. So one thing is we in Kanban world, we say limit work in progress. Limit work in progress. So when I had 13 projects running at the same time, limit work in progress seems like a good exercise for me. So how we could plan our weeks. This is pretty simple concept. For example, my projects right now. Training consulting. For example, next week I have a training Thursday and Friday. So I have to walk through the slides and prepare for the training. That's one task. Second task is to print materials. The third task for next week is to write to Tomek because he asked about a short workshop for his team, maybe. So I have 3 tasks related for next week regarding training and consulting that I do. Next, blogging and platform, 1 task. Write and publish an article and write and do the video and publish on YouTube. Second task. The third task, write to few people. So I have few projects. Every project has few tasks. Next one is some habits like physical exercise and stuff like that, and some experiments. Like Piotr introduced, I like experiments. I have paragliding license. My wife is my singing teacher. This is how I met her. So I like experimenting, like trying new things. And I think we have to consciously plan some time to actually do things that we didn't do before. And so then we have a week. Week is a beautiful amount of time because this is amount of time that's actually manageable. When you think about next week, this is like a sprint. You cannot predict future for half a year ahead, but a week is probably a piece of time that's pretty manageable. So in Scrum world, we call it a sprint because that's a future that we can more or less safely predict what we can achieve. And we as humans use weekly cycle. So I believe, and many people that finish the courses say it's actually a good habit to have, is to plan a week ahead. So next week, Thursday and Friday, I have a training, so I probably won't do much. But Saturday is free. Sunday, we probably go some outside the town. And so I can plan for my Monday, Tuesday, and a part of Wednesday. So how much can I achieve? This is how we do sprint planning, yeah? Why don't we do that with our life? So I probably can achieve that much next week, taking into consideration the meetings that I have. And then with every day, I don't think, I just see my weekly plan and I say, because today is pretty nice weather, probably I take a 2-hour walk because tomorrow it will be raining. So maybe I'll do this and this and that. This is what we do on our daily scrums, right? It's pretty much the same concept applied to our life. Let's have a big backlog of stories. Let's then plan for some amount of time that's pretty manageable, like a week. And then every day I just think, this is a good day to do this, this, and that. So that's probably one of the applications that you could manage your tasks. That's called Wunderlist. Wunderlist was acquired by Microsoft, and Microsoft said it would kill it probably within the next few months because they will have their own beautiful application. I'm really sorry. So you have lists for projects, you have tasks, you can apply some special priority, you can do subtasks, you can have deadlines. Every task list application have nearly the same functionality. Let's do Asana. Projects, tasks, due date, subtasks, attachments. So application will let you not miss the deadline and sort by priority. That's it. So let's do Todoist, for example. My projects, including ideas for things to do with my wife that are nice. And then basically tasks with some special priorities sometimes. So sometimes people want an inspiration about the task list applications. If you want to make a picture, I just let you. Wunderlist, that's one application you may try. Asana, Nozbe, which is a Polish product. Anydo, Todoist, Toodledo, and Teamwork. These are 7 free applications that you could try for managing your tasks. I will leave that for maybe 15 seconds. If you want to make a picture, that's no problem. So why do we need an application? Because if I'm in the city and I want to make a very quick decision what to do because my meeting finished later than I thought, it makes no sense to me for me to come back home and I have an hour to spare. I can go for coffee and relax, but I just open my task list application and I see what I have to do this week. So maybe I go to that cafeteria. I have 1 week. I have 1 hour. So maybe during that 1 hour, I'll prepare an email for Tomek that I'm going to send this week. So I'll do this and maybe some small things like, I don't know, write a pitch for a person that I met in here. So I can very dynamically adjust to the situation that I have because the plan is there already. All right? And then, because we have tasks, we also have distractions. Anyone having problem with distractions? All right, there are multiple tools and techniques to help you. One of them that I use, I'm a long-time addict. I, for example, installed an application called Stay Focused and say, hey, between 7 a.m. and 12 p.m., Facebook.com, Gmail.com, and LinkedIn.com. 10 minutes, all right? 10 minutes between 7 and 12. So after 10 minutes, my Facebook.com changes into something like this. Okay, so this is how I sometimes, if I open a browser right now and type F, just one letter, guess what happens? Do you have that in your browser as well? You just open a browser and type F. How much easier is that than starting any task? So your brain thinks, why bother? And sometimes it happens unconsciously, which is scary stuff. Sometimes you check your phone like hundreds times a day. And actually, we are the first generation to experience that our brain thinks, what can I do with that's not work? So this is one of the problems. And actually, we work in offices. We distract ourselves a lot. And if others don't distract us, we distract ourselves. This is the really big problem that we have to deal with. If you use Pomodoro technique or you work in blocks, whatever you can do to block distractions, do it. For example, any one of you using Outlook? Outlook by default has this feature enabled, which is worse than NSA spying on you. It's probably the biggest productivity killer ever because every time an email comes, you have this beautiful box in here enabled. And this box tells, hey, you've got a new email. And you say, I'll only look. And then you come back to your task and it's like, what I was doing? Maybe it's time for break. So this is how it works. And the first thing that I would recommend is cutting this pop-up window to not distract you. And then it's this box, it's your phone, It's email notifications on your phone. It's Facebook notifications on your phone. It's somebody tweeting, stuff like that. So 3 minutes is usually the time after which people distract themselves. So people voted #1 technique of what helped them after doing productivity classes. This most stupid, simple concept ever is 3 most important things. Any one of you have 7 most important goals for this year in your company? So, sorry, science says if there are most important things, your brain has slot for 3 things at most. So you can have 7 important goals, but you can have only 3 most important goals. So the habit that you could form is this. What are the 3 most important things you would do next week? Can you answer such a question? What are the 3 most important things that you would like to achieve next week? If you ask yourself that question every Sunday, you are systematically planning implementation of your priority goals. Welcome into 80% world. Or, what are the 3 most important things that you want to achieve on this conference? Maybe you had no expectations, that's good. But maybe that's meeting 10 new people. If that was your goal, sometimes it takes extra minute after each session to know 1 person. So it can take you 10 minutes in total, but it can double the effect. So that would be probably my recommendation #1 for you. People vote this #1 habit that they form. What are the 3 most important things that I want to achieve today? What are the 3 most important things that you want to achieve in 2017? And so on. So that will be about your current work. Anyone familiar with OKR? Objectives and key results. This is how I weekly track my goals in 5 minutes. So every week I spend 5 minutes to update a very simple chart. For example, I want to read books regularly. This is number of pages. This is the date. I simply update 1 point every week. It takes me 20 seconds. How much have I read? And I see if I keep this pace, in a quarter I'm able to read roughly 2,700 pages. That's roughly me. And then my trainings, all right? I try to do 3 trainings a week, but if I keep this pace, you know where I'm going. And maybe articles published. When I see this, that was January, I know that my goal of writing roughly 30 articles in a quarter, probably I won't do that. And if I see this chart, I need to react because I know that I won't do that. I miss my goal. So these are, and this is my average sleep. This is the message, don't argue with my wife. My goal would be to keep probably roughly 7:30. That will be my goal. So very simple exercise, 20 seconds per each. And with this very simple chart, I see if I do abstract goals or if I'm really going to hit my goal. I really recommend this technique to you if you only can. So that's currently running. Keep it visible. Your question?
Why was it 4? It should be 3. Priorities.
Yeah, priorities. Let's talk about priorities. I track, actually, about tracking, I track roughly 7 measures every quarter, but every week I have 3 goals. If you want to see them, let's stay after the talk and I can show you how I do this. So currently running, keep it visible, keep it sorted by priority, limit work in progress, this is what we hear, and then just organize in any application. At work you use Jira. In your personal life, I would recommend these 7 free applications. Just try any, they have very similar functionality, and just stick with whatever you like. How do you organize nearby future projects? So if you're like me, this is how it happens. First thing is you have an idea. And then if you have an idea, then you just go and start doing that. Anyone like me? Just jumping right into action. Yes. So Piotrek is driving a car, listening to podcasts, and then his beautiful idea. I need to do a podcast about productivity. So what's my next step? I don't even enter my home. I just, the moment I parked the car next to my apartment, I take my phone and check, what's the site I should be using and so on. The step we are desperately missing is asking ourselves, what do I want to achieve? All right, what I want to achieve by recording podcasts. Let's calculate how much time it takes. Usually 10 parts of podcast, each one has 1 hour, so I probably 2 hours of recording, 2 hours of editing. Setting up a page, setting up some marketing, 60 to 80 hours of work. 60 to 80 hours of work is half of your month's salary. Imagine putting half of your monthly salary on a table and saying, let's just try it. Let's invest, 5,000 zloty, and let's see what happens. Do you do that with money? If we don't do that with money, why do we do that with our time? Your money is, you can earn more, you can invest, you can do many things, and time, I'm very sorry to say this, your time is just running out. There's no way to invest a year of your life in 4% yearly to have 2-week vacation at the end of the year. I'm really sorry. Your time is just running out. Why do we care so much about 5,000 zloty and we can throw out through the window 80 hours of our time and say, that was just an experiment? So this is scary stuff. And when I calculated that, I realized it makes no sense for me to record podcast at this moment. Maybe I could do ACE conference and be here and talk to you. That pretty much gets the same result. I have people, they know me. They can say, that was not interesting, or yes, I like the way this guy thinking. So I am achieving similar effect with less cost. This is and many of my ideas now are not implemented because when I calculate how much time I want to spend and what's the effect I want to achieve, it makes no sense to even start. Anecdotes at the end. So then you could start things. So if I ask you, anyone doing physical exercise? All right, what's the goal? How do you know you're healthy enough? All right? Makes you feel better. I do that with coffee and sweets. All right, I want to provoke you to think about what's the actual goal you want to achieve. This is how I changed the sport. I realized that with this kind of sport, I won't achieve the results I want. For example, if you want to be healthy, and I'm running, and I live in Krakow, it's actually the way to get dead very soon, not get healthy. So I would provoke you to really think about what's the goal of your physical activity. You spend, let's say, 6, 8, 10 hours weekly on that. That may be quarter of 1/8 of your salary. Imagine that 1,000 zloty is lying on your table. This is your time equivalent of the time you spend. All right? So, anyone doing portfolio Kanban in your company? No? You may start it in your life. My ideas, 50 ideas what I could do. Record podcasts, organize a meetup, write an ebook, and stuff like that. So ideas, I have plenty of ideas. I have, idea for 2 or 3 applications. I have for courses on many, many things. I analyze, maybe we should buy a flat or build a house with my wife. What do I want to achieve? What's the most important in my house? So these are the types of questions before I start. Any one of you build a house, looked at it and say, this is not what I wanted? Yeah, it happens sometimes. And then I have projects that are in progress, and sometimes the list is so long that I know, okay, I'm at my capacity. If I finish my program and I will update my trainings, then I have capacity to start anything new. So keep it visible. These are these Scrum and Agile manifesto stuff, yeah? Keep it visible. So, how do you organize your maybe someday projects? Any way to organize someday projects? You don't. Don't even waste your time on that. For example, I would like to go from East Coast to West Coast in a camper. Sounds good? Maybe someday. I don't plan now because I don't know when it happens, but I start gathering materials. So 3 applications you could use: Evernote, Google Keep, Microsoft OneNote, especially dedicated for keeping notes. So during next year, I hear that my friend was getting a camper in the United States. He gives me a link, I put it in my materials. I hear that somebody's talking about it. I see slides in Krakow from someone that maybe I could join. So I start collecting materials. And in 2019, when I'm ready now to start planning this project, I have plenty of materials to actually do the planning. So just collect materials. So that will be my recommendations for you. Just execute. Have good tools to be visible. Decide and plan on things that are coming. What do you want to achieve? How much time are you going to spend on that? Why are you doing this? What's the result? How would you see that you're getting results you want? And then gather materials for maybe someday projects. That's it. So what tools are not able to do for you? Because, people install Jira and it will solve all their problems. People installed... Do you have that friends that say, I installed Nozbe, I will now be a productivity geek? And after 2 weeks, you see them and it's like, this application sucks, it didn't work. So what applications will not do for you? They will not give you ideas what to do. Application will not ask you, does it make any sense to do that? Application will not tell you, hey, I think you're doing too much. How about sleeping more? This is what applications will not tell you. Applications are beautiful to track progress, that's it. The rest has to be done by us. And this is what my recommendation for you would be. Be really mindful about your priorities and keeping 3 most important things for this conference, for tomorrow, for the weekend, for next year, for next month. So that's what I learned from people. I think this is pretty well aligned with actually what we do in software. I don't know if you see that this is current sprint. This is what we do, backlog grooming. We think, what do we want to achieve? What are the acceptance criteria? How do we know we are done? How much time are we going to spend on that? And then this is just gathering materials, asking customer, what do we want to achieve? Why don't we do that with our lives then? If we teach that in our companies, that we should be doing this. So that's all for now. If you have any questions, answers, it's probably last break and we're finishing. I'm staying for a few more minutes on the corridor. And if you want to talk with me or stay in touch, feel invited to Facebook Produktywni. It's all in Polish. I'm very sorry. I do run a blog, and I have something called Productive List that you get any extra materials. So thank you for your time. You invested 30 few minutes in this presentation, and I hope you got your return on investment. Thank you.